Hey guys, welcome back. And today we are going to be doing a 3-round mock draft with a very special guest, a regular guest here on the channel, and that is the mock draft guy. This is going to be our last mock of the cycle, but there's a lot more coming in the future that we're really excited about. And yeah, it's great to have him on as always. Probably something we should have discussed before we went on. Are you going to have odds or evens? You guys know I'll leave the links down below, but let's go ahead and get into this. Do you want odds or evens? Let's just get that
I'll
out of
take
the way.
evens. We didn't discuss that before, but yes, I will take the even picks for this one because it works out well because the Jets are number 10 and the Colts are number 15. So it works out well for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I'm going to go with Caleb Williams, and I don't even really think I need to explain that pick at this point. I think all the explanation you need is out there. Caleb Williams is going to be the number one pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even give it a second thought. I don't even give it an explanation at this point. I'm just like, yeah, Caleb Williams, and then the draft starts at number 2, which I do believe the draft does start at number 2 because of the recent smokes. I think it's complete smoke screens. I don't know what you think about it, but of Jaden Daniels' camp, his agent not being happy with the meeting with the Washington Commanders. Now, granted, there's going to be some interest from other teams. To me, I personally think that this is a sabotage by the New England Patriots to try and get Jaden Daniels to fall to number 3, and then they take him. But I'll be honest with you. I don't think that any of this has any credibility whatsoever. The agent, for what it's worth, did come out and say that all of these were basically baloney allegations and none of this has ever happened, but there's got to be some truth to it. You have to think that the Las Vegas Raiders would be interested in trading up here for number 2 or even number 3 if Jaden Daniels were to fall. I don't think they have enough capital to get it done. If they did, they probably would have offered it already to Washington. I think number 2 is going to be Jaden Daniels, regardless of what smoke screens are being thrown out there right now.
Yeah, I think Jaden, he's been my number 2 guy for Washington for a while. The JJ McCarthy hype is there, and it's interesting, and I don't actually hate it for them. I'm going to take JJ here at 3 to New England, actually. The Drake May, there seems to be a lot of talk that Drake May might slip a little bit in this draft, which if that's the case, it'll be very interesting to see. But overall, I like JJ here. I think he's a solid quarterback, and he just feels like a Patriots guy for whatever that means. We know they took Mac Jones. They like their white quarterbacks that are maybe not the biggest, and I think JJ might. Yeah, that part wasn't necessary.
No, it's okay. I think that's awesome. I'm just laughing because I didn't expect that from you. You're more of the. That sounds like something I would say.
Yeah. But yeah, I think JJ McCarthy will go number 3.
Well, now this is a different way that I'm looking at it now because I didn't expect you to be quite honestly, to take JJ McCarthy at number 3 there. I thought it would be Drake May, and if that was going to be the case, I would think that the Minnesota Vikings would trade up to get him. What I'm thinking now is we're still hearing that the New York Giants trying to trade up for a quarterback is the worst kept secret in the NFL. So I know this might be weird, but we saw them do it last year as well. I'm going to move up a couple picks here for the New York Giants. And since I hold both picks, I feel pretty fine about this. I think we're going to move up 2 spots and the Giants are going to take Drake May here. I feel like if this is the case, I know that it seems like they're in on JJ McCarthy, but I know Drake May for the whole time has just kind of seemed like a New York Giant to me, to be quite honest with you. I think it's not going to take nearly as much as we think. Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals will most likely, depending on what you do here, will most likely miss out on Marvin Harrison Jr., but they are going to pick up a little bit more draft capital here. Let's see what it takes to get it done. It really shouldn't, in reality, it really shouldn't be that much. Okay, so the trade up for the New York Giants was pick 6, pick 70, and a second round pick next year to move up 2 spots to get your franchise quarterback. What I'm thinking here is that the New York Giants front office, Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, these guys, their jobs depend on what they do in this draft. I feel like if they stick with Daniel Jones, well, they're going to go down with the ship, essentially. I think that they need to switch course and they need to get their franchise guy, giving up a third-round pick this year. They've been aggressive with trading their draft picks this year, getting Brian Burns. They're building a decent team on both sides, I believe. They are another legitimate weapon away, but we were able to keep that second-round pick. So I think that we're going to take Drake May here and get our quarterback of the future for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense for them. And then they get a third this year, which we'll see later on in the video for Arizona. The Chargers are at 5. And if the Cardinals had just stuck where they were, I was going to take Joe Alt here because I was assumed you would have taken Marvin Harrison Jr., but I can't pass on the talent of Marvin Harrison Jr. here. So that's who I'm going to take here at number 5. They need an X receiver. They need to pair Justin Herbert with a legit number 1. I think that is Marvin Harrison Jr. His size, his route running, his hands. He does everything at an elite level, and I think that's exactly what they need. You got guys that I like in Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnston, but they're not Marvin Harrison Jr., so I'm going to take him at 5.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's going to be tough for Jim Harbaugh to take an Ohio State man, but he has legitimate top 3 in the NFL talent. He could be that guy. He could be the best wide receiver in football at some point in his career. Tough to say with guys like Justin Jefferson being so young as well, but I mean, super solid pick. And imagine pairing Marvin Harrison Jr. with Justin Herbert. I mean, that's just salivating. So the Arizona Cardinals do lose out on Marvin Harrison Jr., but there's a pretty decent consolation prize here at number 6. I'm going to take Malik Neighbors. I think that a lot of teams do value Malik Neighbors as wide receiver 1. The Cardinals could be one of those teams, and hence why they do accept the trade down. They already haven't been shy about saying that they would be willing to move down if the price is right, and they still get a premium wide receiver alpha type of receiver for the outside in Malik Neighbors. So I mean, like for me, I still think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the better player. I don't think it's as far of a drop off as people think it is, though.
Yeah, I like Neighbors. You know, we've had a lot of conversations about Neighbors. I think he's going to be a dynamic slot receiver at the next level, which, I mean, funny enough, Jalen Waddle was pick number 6 back in 2021, and that was my comp for Malik Neighbors. So I think it's a good pick there for the Cardinals. They get some more speed, and now that team with Greg Dortch and Malik Neighbors, they're just going to fly down the field. It would be pretty fun to watch for sure. At number 7, it's going to be Joe Alt, similar to the Caleb Williams pick. Don't really think that needs any explanation. They just need more offense there, helping that offensive line. They did a good job. They got Lloyd Cushenberry to be the center. They got Peter Skoronski, but I think they need that left tackle of the future, and I think it's Joe Alt without question.
I'll be honest with you. I think that this is a trade down spot again for the Atlanta Falcons. Now we've seen Marvin Harrison Jr., we've seen Malik Neighbors go 5 and 6. The Chicago Bears are looming at number 9, and they only have the Chicago Bears have some of the most interesting draft capital I've ever seen, where they literally hold 2 top 10 picks in number 1 and number 9, which is incredible draft capital, and then they have 75 and 122, and that's it. But I think that if Rome Odunze falls to number 9, I think we see him get drafted regardless of the draft capital that the Bears do possess. I don't think that they move down. So I think that teams are going to come calling, trying to leapfrog the Chicago Bears and try and get Rome Odunze. And I think that there's a sleeper team that is really, really interested. And I think that that's the Jacksonville Jaguars here. The trade was, it's a big one. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of future capital as well. So we traded 17, 48, and 116 for this year. And we gave up a second round pick next year to move up 9 spots to number 8 to draft Rome Odunze. But I think it's something necessary. And it seems like the Jacksonville Jaguars are hell bent on trading up for either Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. So they get what they want and they leapfrog the Chicago Bears here.
Yeah, that's kills me as a Colts fan. I was hoping that you were going to say the Colts for that team that was going to trade up, but
sorry, Charlie.
Unfortunately not. Number 9, you put me in a bit of a weird spot here because now Rome Odunze is off the board. All 3 receivers are off. And yeah, you could go with one of the edge rushers, but I don't think that's where – I know they like Dallas Turner according to reports. I think it's very possible you could move back and still get him. I do want to move back if I'm Chicago. The question is who's moving up and what are they looking for? I'm looking at teams like maybe you see a team like way down there, like the Eagles try and move up way up here to try and get a Terrion Arnold or a Quinion Mitchell. They're possible, but I just don't think there's a team that is going to be willing to offer that much capital to move up here. I don't think Cincinnati for Brock Bowers could be interesting, but I'm just not really there. I'm just going to stick and pick here for the Bears. I'm going to take Dallas Turner to pair alongside of Montez Sweat. I do think Dallas Turner has the higher ceiling of the three edge rushers, and now he's in a situation where he doesn't have to be the number one guy. He's got Montez Sweat on the opposite side. He can learn a little bit, and he doesn't have to be – he's not going to be asked to be the guy there. So I like this fit for Dallas Turner in Chicago.
Yeah, I do too. And that is something that, I mean, you get two speed rushers off the edge like that, speed power for Montez Sweat, speed and a little bit more finesse for Dallas Turner. I feel like that's just a really, really great pairing because you saw how good that defense was after they acquired him last year. He's clearly a difference maker. Got to add to that line. For me, my New York Jets at number 10, I feel like this is pretty simple. I feel like it's got to be Brock Bowers at this point. Olufashanu is the downfall of Olufashanu needs to be studied, even though he's probably only going to still end up in the top 15 anyway. But I don't see him being a Jet here. Same thing with Talisi Fuaga. As much as I'd love to have him or Troy Fautanu, I just feel like the Jets are going all in on this year and even potentially next year and just getting as many offensive weapons, just building this team through weapons for Aaron Rodgers. And Brock Bowers is someone that I don't even consider a tight end. He's just the ultimate weapon X. That's what I really consider him as. I mean, we saw him do a backflip, the cleanest backflip I've ever seen the other day. Did you see that video?
I did see that video, yeah.
Oh, he's so clean.
Yeah, he's going to be incredible. And I know that one of the arguments is, the Jets don't really use their tight ends or Rodgers doesn't really use
because they don't have anyone like Brock Bowers.
Exactly. They don't have a guy like Brock Bowers. I love that for them. At number 11, we got the Vikings here. This is a tough one again because we expected them to take a quarterback, but I don't really love any of the quarterbacks here for them, especially considering you're at 23 and the board really hasn't fallen in your favor. One guy who I really like here that I think could be really fun, I'm going to go with Jared Verse here to Minnesota. Do something a little bit different than I have seen on a lot of them. I know corner is a position that the Vikings need. I get it. You got Jonathan Grenard, which was a good pickup, and now you got Jonathan Grenard and Jared Verse off the edge, which I think is a dynamic pairing. DJ Wanham also left in free agency. Yeah, Grenard's a good edge rusher. I think he's very good, but continuing to add more players off to the edge and the pass rush, I think is important. We know Flores. I think Jared Verse would be exactly what Flores likes. So I'm going to take him here at 11.
Yeah, I love that pick. And I think that that's super underrated. It's an underrated need for them for sure. I would have considered Byron Murphy there as well as like a super sleeper, but Verse makes a little bit more sense if you ask me. I am actually going to trade down again with this pick because the Denver Broncos clearly don't have enough draft capital, regardless of what Sean Payton wants to do to move up. I just don't see them having enough draft capital to move up to get one of these guys up here. I just don't see it. And I think 12 is a little too rich for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Or Michael Penix Jr. rather. I don't know what you're going to do at number 13, but for me personally, if they were still there at the back end of the first round, I would take them. So we're going to do a slight trade down here. That actually works out perfectly, to be honest with you, because we saw Dallas Turner go at 9. We saw Jared Verse go at 11. There are a couple teams that could be looking for an edge rusher as well here. You look and see the New Orleans Saints here. Maybe even the Colts would stun a lot of people. The Atlanta Falcons are still here, and so are the Seattle Seahawks. So I think for the first time in 8 years, for the first time in the Sean McVay era, the LA Rams have a first-round pick. I do not think that they are going to be passive and stay where they are. They have way more picks than they know what to do with at this point. To me personally, they had the best draft out of any team in the NFL last year and didn't even have a first-round pick. So I think that Les Snead and Sean McVay work best with less, to be honest with you. They're going to get aggressive. They're going to move up, and they're going to take Laiatu Latu here. Okay, so the LA Rams move up to number 12 here with the Denver Broncos. They give up, it's a little bit of a pick swap too. They give up number 1952 and 83, and then a third round pick next year. And they get back number 12 and number 76. So the Denver Broncos acquire some much needed draft capital for this year and next year while pick swapping, while trading down slightly in round 3. They acquire a second round pick. So it works out for both teams here. And apparently, from what I'm hearing and what I'm reading, the LA Rams love Latu. And there's a lot to love, to be honest with you. He is the one edge rusher in this class that I think can get double-digit sacks right away in his rookie season. And I think that he would be an absolute powerhouse for the LA Rams here, with Byron Young on one side, Kobe Turner on the inside, essentially taking over for Aaron Donald, the retired Aaron Donald. I think Latu steps in and he's incredible.
Yeah, I love that pick. We've talked about this for months. Latu is my favorite defensive player in the draft class. I think he's unbelievable. 13 for the Raiders. This is interesting because I'm looking way down the board. This is a tough team to draft for. We talked quarterback. I think this is a team that could trade down. Again, I'm just struggling with some of the value here. I know from one team that I'm considering, Buffalo, way down the board, could put together a haul to move into this sort of area to jump the Saints, the Colts, the Seahawks, all these teams that could be looking for a receiver. This could be a spot, but I think with Troy Fautanu still on the board, that's where I want to go with the Raiders. I just love his versatility along the offensive line. He's an unbelievable athlete. I think he can do a lot of things really well. He's got the length to play tackle. I think he's got the athleticism to play guard. I think he could do a lot of things on the offensive line really well. Good pass protector. He's good in run blocking as well. I'm going to take Fautanu here at 13. Latham was the other guy I considered, but I think the Alex Leatherwood experiment might scare the Raiders away from taking another Alabama tackle. I would go Fautanu as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them in the slightest if that worried them here. So we're going a little crazy with this one, I guess, at this point. But, with all the offensive line woes that the New Orleans Saints have at this point, I mean, there's no guarantee that Ryan Ramczyk's long-term health is good. Trevor Penning hasn't worked out on the left side. My only question here is that what we see that's really left on the board over here in Talisi Fuaga, right tackle, maybe right guard. Kind of same thing with J.C. Latham. Same thing even if you go down here and you see Tyler Guyton. All these guys start on the right side. So I think Olu is the easy pick here. He's going to be someone that's going to start right away on the left side, maybe kick Trevor Penning in to the inside. I don't know how a 6'8" guard is really going to work, but it could, who knows? But Olu for me is the second best left tackle in the entire draft class. And I think the Saints would be very, very thankful if he falls here to them at number 14.
Yeah, that pick seems like that alt pick and some of these other picks where I see that in almost every mock.
You just can't stray away from it, though. It just makes too much sense.
Exactly. It makes a ton of sense. He is a top 10 player in the class for me. I love Olu. At 15 for the Colts, I mean, in Ballard's presser yesterday, he said that he's got 19 to 21 first-round grades on players, which is really interesting. It's a lot more than most teams seem to have on any given year. So they seem like a team that could be primed for a trade back. I think they should trade back in this class, especially considering the talent and the needs. All the corners are still on the board. There's still very good receiver talent on the board. You could get much-needed capital. I wanted to trade up, and you took Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze from me, so I couldn't get that opportunity. So I'm going to trade back instead. And I think that the Eagles have to be looking at this, and they're like, we still got Terrion Arnold on the board at 15, a guy who could play in the slot for us. He could play on the outside. He's great in man coverage. I need that guy on my team. So I think the Colts trade back with the Eagles. The Eagles gave up 22 and 53, moved up to 15 to take Terrion Arnold. Cornerback is a major need for this team. Whether or not they've got guys on the roster this year, there's no guarantee they're going to have guys on the roster next year. I believe Avonte Maddox only got a one-year extension. Kaylee Ringo, Eli Ricks, I'm not betting the house on those guys. I've heard people say Josh Jobe. No. We're gonna take a corner here at 15.
This is an interesting spot as well for the Seattle Seahawks here. I mean, there is every single defensive tackle on the board. There's a ton of offensive line help on the board here. For me, I think offensive line, in this situation at least, trumps what I usually do in mock drafts here. Talisi Fuaga is still on the board. Abe Lucas's, I just kind of sound like a broken record. I just said that with Ryan Ramczyk, but Abe Lucas's long-term health could be in question. The interior of the offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks is next to nothing at this point. And Talisi Fuaga is sitting here. He just offers too much value at this point for me to give up on. I think I categorized it before as I think he could be a Pro Bowl right tackle. I think he could be an all-pro right guard. So I think with that type of mauling, nasty mentality, it fits exactly what the Seattle Seahawks are looking for on their offensive line. They get Fuaga here at 16.
I absolutely love that. I haven't experimented with that idea before, but I love it. I think that's a really interesting one. At 17, if I'm Atlanta, I am over the moon that the board has fallen this way because Quinyon Mitchell is still on the board. I've taken him to them at 8 on numerous occasions. I think that's a guy who fits perfectly with AJ Terrell. I think I don't know about you, he's my number one corner. I know he's not too far off for you. I think he's incredible. And I'm going to take him there to pair alongside AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates in that secondary. And now that defense looks very, very good.
Yeah, that's unbelievable value there at number 17. I mean, that's something personally that I've never seen in a mock draft, but we are doing different scenarios. We said that this was going to be crazy, dude. And this so far, we've done a ton of trades here. And I love the way that this has fallen out. Corner is a very sneaky need for the Atlanta Falcons. So that makes a ton of sense if you ask me. I love that pick. So we got the Cincinnati Bengals here at number 18. And for me, I feel like there's no other way that I can go at number 18 than J.C. Latham. I mean, if you look long term, Trent Brown is a 1-year player, essentially. They have Orlando Brown on the other side as well. And you have Alex Kappa, you have Ted Karras. Those guys are going to be free agents. Don't know how much these guys are actually going to return because of the contracts that they're going to have to dish out to other stars. They're paying Joe Burrow an obscene amount of money. They're going to have to pay some of these other guys. They're going to have to build the line through the draft. And I think J.C. Latham is honestly one of those guys that has guard appeal at the NFL level, as well as being a right tackle of the future as well. So, it offers them a lot of versatility. This is someone that I think starts over Cordell Volson right away on that offensive line. So I'm going to take J.C. Latham here at number 18.
Yeah, I like Latham a little bit. I'm lower on him than consensus, but I think that's a good fit there. They seem to really have a thing for these massive tackles. You look at Orlando and Trent Brown. I think J.C. Latham is a mountain there that they could put in Ohio. At number 19, I think this is an easy one. It's Bo Nix. They trade back. I think Bo Nix is a borderline first-round guy for me. I know a lot of teams really like him. He does a lot of things really well. Maybe he doesn't have the most elite arm in the world. I know that's going to be a common complaint that people have, but I think he does. He's good on the run. He's accurate with the football. He's not the same player he was at Auburn. I'm tired of that narrative. He's a good quarterback, and he feels like a Sean Payton quarterback. I'm going to take him at 19.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I've done that a ton of times too, with that similar trade back scenario as well. And it just makes sense. What the consensus doesn't have on their board doesn't mean that these players and these coaches and these teams don't have them number 1, number 2 on their board. So, now let's take a look at it. The Denver Broncos now have 3 picks in these 3 rounds. They got something cooking here. They can get a defensive player here. They can get an edge rusher. They can get a tackle. They're cooking with something here. So they might surround Bo Nix with a little bit of success here in this mock draft. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. And if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers top 30 visits, it is no secret that they're in the market for an offensive lineman. I mean, I'm pretty sure like 22 out of the 30 visits were either centers or tackles. It was unbelievable. But what I think would make the most sense here, especially they have a lot of capital. They have a lot inside the top 100. 4 picks inside the top 100. I'm willing to wait on the center, even though I think it's a little bit more of a pressing need. I can't pass up switching Broderick Jones back over to the left side and putting Amarius Mims on the right. The 2 Georgia boys, Amarius Mims, I don't know about you, I think has the highest ceiling in the entire draft class for the tackle position if he reaches his potential. That's a big if, but I'm willing to bank on it. You got Mike Tomlin. You have a ton of talent developers over there in Pittsburgh. I think that he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I love Amarius Mims. He's a top 5 tackle in this class for me, and I agree. He's got the highest upside of anyone in this class at the tackle position. At number 21, the Dolphins. This is another one that I just like. I don't really know where they want to go here. You could go with a tackle, sure. You could go with the guard. I know Jackson Powers Johnson and Graham Barton are the consensus picks, but I'm going to do something a little bit different here today. I'm going to take Jerzon Newton at 21 here to Miami. I've not messed around with this idea. You and I both love Jerzon Newton. And
okay, well, it's going to be Byron Murphy, I guess. That was my fault. I hit that by accident. So whenever we take Byron Murphy, we're just going to have to replace it with Jerzon Newton.
So Jerzon Newton is a guy that I think he's got it all. He can defend the run. He can rush the passer. He's an unbelievable athlete. It's a shame we didn't get to see him test because I genuinely think he puts up Kalijah Cansey type testing numbers. I think he's that athletic. Yeah, I love him. They got to replace Christian Wilkins on that interior, and I think Johnny Newton is that guy for them here at 21.
Yeah, well, too bad it says Byron Murphy, but yeah, you're right. And I am going to cede the next 2 picks over to you to keep everything in order, and you get to pick the Indianapolis Colts here.
At number 22, my Colts are on the board here, and I mean, again, I feel like you trade back, you get the capital, and you're in an unbelievable spot if you're Chris Ballard. Brian Thomas Jr. is still on the board. High RAS score, exactly what Ballard wants, a receiver that can win outside on the boundary with speed. If you go back to top 30 visits with the Steelers, they've looked at a ton of speed. They brought in Xavier Worthy. They went for Malik Neighbors, which makes me think a trade-up could be in the works here. But, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. ran a 4.3. He's got great size. He's got the speed to win on the outside. He's going to be the pick here at 22. I think they need that receiver that is going to win down the field with speed. Josh Downs is good, but he's that slot guy. Alec Pierce, more contested catch, throw it up to him, and then you've got your possession guy in Pittman. I think he rounds out this receiver room perfectly. I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. at 22.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And to keep things going with the odd and even, you're up with this one as well.
At 23, I'm going to take Michael Penix Jr. The value here, maybe not the best, but Penix is a good quarterback. I think he is one of the more underrated players in this draft class right now. A guy that I genuinely really like. I think his ball placement is out of this world. And he goes to a team in Minnesota with a good offensive line that can already, with weapons already established. I think he's in a great situation to succeed. I like this for them. And I'm going to take him at 23.
Yeah, I love that as well. I think that this would be the only scenario where Michael Penix Jr. succeeds right away, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. Good enough offensive line, amazing weapons. I mean, you have Kevin O'Connell, who's one of the few quarterback whisperers in the NFL right now. I think it's for honestly any quarterback that the Minnesota Vikings land in this draft, if they do decide to take a quarterback, I feel like is just landing in the best scenario possible.
Yeah.
24 here, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm looking for a left tackle of the future here. Graham Barton has a lot of experience as a tackle. He has a lot of experience on the interior. He's listed as a center. Don't really understand why, to be quite honest with you. But I feel like there's a more Dallas Cowboys-esque pick here at number 24, and that's going to be Jackson Powers Johnson for me. Someone that's he's not necessarily a true center, but he's going to play that interior. He's mean, he's nasty. They laughed at Jerry Jones for taking Travis Frederick, and he was on a Hall of Fame pace before he had to unfortunately prematurely retire. I think Jackson Powers Johnson could quite easily be on that trajectory as well. The reason why he falls or is falling, and why some people think that the mock draft community is higher on JPJ than the actual consensus for NFL executives, is because of his medicals. There were a couple medical problems that came up that some teams did not like, but I think Jerry Jones throws that right out the window. We saw him draft Leighton Vander Esch, so obviously he doesn't care about medicals. So Jackson Powers Johnson fits immediately. I think there's enough tackle depth later on in the draft where they're perfectly fine with taking a center right here at number 24.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to do something here at 25 that I haven't done in any mock draft I've done, but a report came out earlier We were talking earlier about smoke screens. This is one I do believe is that the best kept secret in the draft is that Washington is going to trade up for a tackle. Guyton is still on the board. I think the athletic upside is there. I look at who's picking. I think Baltimore would take him. I think the Niners would take him. They've got 2 second-round picks from the Montez Sweat trade. Green Bay, I don't really think has anything to lose by trading back here. They've already got 2 seconds. Well, you could pick up a third later second as well. I'm going to have Washington trade up here at 25. All right, so we gave up pick 36. I believe we gave up pick 67 and 100. Washington has a ton of draft capital. We're going to take Tyler Guyton. Well, I think he's a bit more of a project. I think he's a guy that, look, Washington isn't going anywhere this year. They did a better job at improving the offensive line in free agency, but it is still a mess. I think Guyton could go in, be that right tackle of the future for this team. Maybe you can move Sam Cosmi back to guard. I don't really know where you go there, but I think Guyton has a ridiculously high ceiling. I put him up there with Fashanu and Mims as the highest ceiling tackles in this class. So I'm going to take him at 25.
Yeah, I like that. I love the aggressiveness. Guyton is someone that has played the majority of his career at right tackle, but I could easily see him with that power profile and that size and athletic ability, could easily make the switch over to left tackle. There's only a couple guys that I think that could do that in this class, Tyler Guyton and Amarius Mims being those 2 guys. So, I mean, that's perfect for Washington. I like that a lot. 26 here, this is a pretty simple pick for me. I think that there are a couple other guys in play here. I see Graham Barton, maybe even someone like Zach Frazier could be in play here at number 26. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year had 47 sacks, which was good enough for 9th in the NFL. But when you look at the blitz percentage, you go, oh my God, the only way that they got pressure was by blitzing. So I think adding more talent to that talent pool is imperative in this draft. Give me Chop Robinson here at number 26. You know as well as I do, J-Wack, I am not the biggest fan of Chop Robinson. I personally, if I had a first round pick in a draft, I wouldn't select him. But I think with as brilliant of a defensive mind as Todd Bowles is, I think that he could get the absolute most out of Chop Robinson. And you got something nice cooking there. You got Kalijah Kancey. They're still going to try and make it work with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They have Yaya Diaby as well. And then you add someone like Chop Robinson. You're cooking with gas there on the defensive line.
Yeah, I think in that, like as a rotational pass rusher for Todd Bowles, that's an excellent fit for him. Yeah, I think he's still a bit of a project, but I do quite like the fit of Chop in Tampa. At 27, we keep talking about we're going crazy. I kind of want to do something again, maybe a little bit different. I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. We're also hearing another rumor that Joe Alt is in play for the Cardinals at 4 potentially. Well, if he's in play for them at 4, that's got to mean offensive line's in play down the board. I look at Graham Barton here, his versatility to play everywhere on that offensive line. I know you got Byron Murphy there, Johnny Newton, whatever, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean. Like there's talent here, but Kyler Murray's injury history, they haven't done a good job of protecting him. I think Graham Barton would be an excellent fit for them.
Yeah, I actually really like that pick. And I also wouldn't sleep on Zach Frazier being in play here at number 27.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that interior of the offensive line, Will Hernandez is the one that speaks out to me. I think he was the 27th best starting guard in the NFL for the position. It's not going to be great long-term. If you are going to maintain your investment in Kyler Murray, you have to protect him. It's imperative.
Yeah, and I know they've got Graham Barton listed as a center. I'm blanking on the name of their center, but I do remember he had
it's like Elijah Freehold or something like that.
Yeah, he had a pretty decent season, all things considered. I'm going to take Graham Barton here. We're going to have him play guard. He's got that tackle ability, but now you've got Paris Johnson. You've got Graham Barton on that left side. And the offensive line, I know they got Jonah Williams at right tackle. I'm not worried about that. But this offensive line's taking shape. I want to do something a little bit different because we always go corner or defense with this pick. They've got so much draft capital, as we know from our 7-round mock. We're going to go offensive line here at 27.
I love that pick. And at 28 here, maybe a wild card, maybe not. But I think Buffalo has their sights. If they haven't traded up yet, they have their sights on someone that maybe not a lot of teams have in the first round. And for me, it's obviously going to be wide receiver here. And we're going to take Xavier Legette here at number 28. I think that Leggett is being slept on in this stretch. It's purely because of how deep the wide receiver class is. But Leggett is someone you have to understand. If you watch South Carolina football and you watch Spencer Rattler and how much he was pressured by one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen in college football. South Carolina had a horrendous offensive line. And you see Xavier Leggett going up against premium SEC talent every single week and bringing in almost 1,300 yards, almost 85 catches, almost 10 touchdowns as basically the only primary receiver that he has. There's something special there. I wouldn't worry about the first 4 years of his career. Again, poor quarterback play, poor offensive line play. He did have drop issues. It seems like he's figured it out. He's a little bit of an older prospect, will be 23 in his rookie season, but 6'1", 221 pounds with that 4.3 speed on the outside. Give me that to Josh Allen all day, every day.
I love it. I love it. 29, the Lions. I think another trade back is here. There's two teams that I have in mind. I think Carolina, you look at the receiver talent here. Adonai Mitchell's still on the board. I don't think anyone expected him to fall this far. I think everyone thought Buffalo would take him. Maybe one of those teams. You look at Baltimore, San Francisco, I think is in the receiver market, considering we don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk. Kansas City's obviously looking for a receiver. Carolina could be in play, but I'm not going to do that because Byron Murphy's still on the board. The number one need for the Houston Texans is still defensive tackle. I know they traded out of the first round, but if he's on the board at 29, I'm going to have the Texans trade up here. All right, so we have the Texans move 42, 86, and what was it, 123?
Yeah.
To Detroit to trade up and improve that defensive tackle position and get Byron Murphy. It just makes way too much sense.
It says, quick disclaimer, it says Johnny Newton. I fucked up. It was supposed to say, it was supposed to be Byron Murphy. So,
yeah. But yeah, it makes too much sense. Their defensive tackle room, they've done an excellent job of improving this year. Their defense, they still got another second later. So I don't think this is too far gone here. You just got one of the best defensive tackles in the class. I've got him as my third, but I think he's got a lot of upside, and his pass rush upside from the inside, I think, is exactly what DeMeco Ryans wants. So I'm going to have Byron Murphy at 29.
I like it. Going to go a little crazy here. Obviously, the top need, or the perceived top need for the Baltimore Ravens, offensive line help. Clearly, you look at it, they lost a ton in the offseason. Give me Cooper DeJean here at number 30. I really like what he could bring to the table here. I've been saying since how long ago, dude? I said that Cooper DeJean reminds me a ton of Chuck Clark. He brings you could put him anywhere on the defense. He's going to succeed. You could put him in the slot. You could put him out on the boundary. You could put him at safety. He could be your kick returner. He's got a ton of appeal everywhere. He's an incredibly athletic player as well. Maybe not the biggest need, but Baltimore loves their defensive pieces, and they also do need another corner on the boundary as well. So give me Cooper DeJean here at number 30.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one mocked a lot either, but I like that. I think that's interesting. At number 31, we've got the San Francisco 49ers, and I kind of hate the board for the Niners right now. Corner is obviously a need, and I do think Kool-Aid McKinstry makes quite a bit of sense here. The Brandon Ayuk thing kind of makes me want to go receiver here. And the receiver I'm thinking of going with is Ladd McConkey, just because I like his versatility, and I think he would be kind of perfect for them with Debo. But you know what? We said we were going to go crazy. I'll take Ladd McConkey here at 31 for the 49ers.
Wow. All right. Now, does this mean that you're trading Brandon Ayuk at some point here, or are we holding off? Are we assuming that he's already traded at some other point?
I do think he gets traded, but I think it's going to be post-draft at this point. So I think like a team like Pittsburgh at 20 makes sense for me to see him get moved. I think a team like Jacksonville at 17, if they don't trade up for Rome, that makes sense. I think it kind of depends just the way the board fell, but I do think Ayuk could be on his way out, and I like his fit here at 31.
Yeah, 32 here. This seems pretty obvious, but it might not be as obvious as you think, because every time that the Kansas City Chiefs do something that we think is might do something that we think is obvious, they kind of sort of do the opposite. There's a lot of cornerback talent that's on the board here. I'm not in love with the offensive line talent. I know that they desperately need to protect Patrick Mahomes on the left side. Give me another receiver and give me Adonai Mitchell here. Adonai Mitchell kind of encompasses everything that all the other receivers have on Kansas City, but puts it into one. He's a great blocking wide receiver. He's a good route runner. He's big. He's physical. He's fast. Give me that on the outside. Imagine Patrick Mahomes throwing to Adonai Mitchell, Rashee Rice when he probably comes back from his inevitable suspension, and then Marquise Hollywood Brown on the other side of Justin Watson and Travis Kelce. I mean, I feel like that's going to be the best weaponage that Patrick Mahomes has ever had in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard some smoke screens about maybe diabetes pushing him down the board. I'm not really buying that. I still think he's a top 15 talent in this class. Top 20. I think I got him at 19, but he's a very good receiver, and that'd suck for the rest of the NFL. At number 33, I think again it is going to continue a run on receivers here. I'm going to take Keon Coleman. I like his size. I think Deontay Johnson's the separator that this team needed. They've got Jonathan Mingo, who I never really loved, but I think now you've got a guy with great size who you could be a good contested catch guy. He's got really good speed, play speed. I know everyone's going to talk about that 40. I'm not concerned about it. I'm going to take Keon Coleman at 33.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. If you look at the agility statistics for Keon Coleman, the 4.61 40 does not matter as much. At number 34 here, I'm going to protect the blind side of JJ McCarthy here. I like what Jordan Morgan can bring to the table for the New England Patriots. Maybe more of a guard, quite possibly, but I think they're going to start him out at left tackle here. I know that they did sign, I'm blanking on his name, from Pittsburgh, their left tackle, but for me, that's not good enough. And even if they do want to start him, then Jordan Morgan can easily start on the interior here. So give me Jordan Morgan and his versatility at 34.
Yeah, I like that pick. At 35, I mean, Arizona took Graham Barton. They took Malik Neighbors. They've still got a ton of picks in the top 100.
That's
and I'm trying to think of the right pick here because I know they pick again fairly soon, but corner makes sense. I think probably the most, and Kool-Aid McKinstry is on the board here at 35. I like him just as much as I like Terrion Arnold. There's the injury concern there, maybe questions about the speed. He did allow some big plays, but I love Kool-Aid. I'm going to take him here at 35.
Yeah, I like that a lot. At 36 here, I'm going to go a little bit outside the box. I mean, look at this. We thought the Arizona Cardinals had a lot of draft capital. I mean, this is unbelievable. They have 7 picks in the top 100 and didn't even have a first-round pick. Unbelievable job here by GM J-Wack here. This is unbelievable here. At 36, I think we're going with an outside-the-box pick here. I like linebacker at this spot because this is a very top-heavy linebacker class. I know Nate Wiggins is sitting here, and I've been on record as saying I think Nate Wiggins would be a tremendous addition to the secondary of the Green Bay Packers, but I think that they do need another linebacker on the other side of Quay Walker. It's not going to be Peyton Wilson. It's going to be Edgerrin Cooper for me here at number 36.
Yeah, I've seen that pick a few times, maybe not at 36 as a trade back with Washington, but I've seen Edgerrin Cooper to Green Bay. I really, really like that fit. I think that makes a ton of sense. Nate Wiggins, I think, has to come off the board here at 37. They need corner. He's a good player. Obviously, he's great in press. He's got speed. Obviously, the size, I think, is something that could push him down the board. Had an unbelievable season statistically in 2023 for Clemson. I'm going to take him at 37 to the Chargers.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's like, that's a 2 premium prospects at positions of need kind of fall into the LA Chargers lap here at this point. All right, so a little bit of a weird situation here at 38 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I saw the Tennessee Titans. Whoa, that would be crazy. But with the odd front, I know that they do, I believe, no, they don't need a center. They signed, who did they sign? Was it Lloyd Cushenberry they signed?
Yes.
Okay, so we drafted Joe Alt as well. There's a lot of different ways that we can go here. Corner is not really much of a concern here. I really like what Darius Robinson can bring to the line here. I know that they did lose Danico Autry as well. I think that they need to replace that, and I think that Darius Robinson makes a lot of sense due to his versatility and a lot of wide fronts. We saw him play in alignments from the 2-eye all the way to the wide 9 in this last year at Missouri, and he was absolutely fantastic. If you watch game film, his agility and speed numbers aren't really going to concern you. He is extremely explosive off the snap. He's extremely strong and comes with almost 36-inch arms as well. So that's going to be incredibly tough for defenses to offensive linemen to deal with here. I'm going to take him at 38.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to recall before the Senior Bowl. I think I might have texted you and I was like, this guy Darius Robinson's kind of flashing. He's awesome. I love him at 38. At 39, we took Keon Coleman. I'm trying to look at the board here. Center is a need for them because I believe they cut Bradley Bozeman.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I know this is one of my hot takes of this draft cycle. I don't think the gap between Zach Frazier and Jackson Powers Johnson is as big as people make it out to be. Zach Frazier is an awesome player. Trey Benson is also sitting there, though, and running back is a sneaky need for Carolina. But I am going to improve the offensive line. Protecting Bryce Young, first and foremost. They did a pretty solid job going out and they got Robert Hunt. They've still got Ika Mekwonu, who I still believe in. I think he could have a really big breakout season this year. You got Taylor Moton as your right tackle. Now you got your center of the future in Zach Frazier. So I'm going to take him here at 39.
Yeah, that's a pick that I make a bunch of times, and I've been on record multiple times as saying that I think that Zach Frazier is the best pure center in the entire draft class, whereas Jackson Powers Johnson is more of a hybrid guard center type of player. But in terms of being an actual center, Zach Frazier is second to none. I love that pick there. I think that's fantastic. And getting Keon Coleman and Zach Frazier with those first two picks, I don't think any Panthers fan would be mad about that. So Jaden Daniels, Tyler Guyton here. We're going to have to go with an edge rusher, I feel like, at this point. Let's see who's on the board here. I have someone in mind. Just want to see if there's anyone else on the board. Yeah, all right. That makes a lot of sense. So I might go with a little bit of an outside the box pick here, but give me Adisa Isaac out of Penn State, a Brooklyn boy close to my hometown here in New York. He's fantastic, explosive. He does need a little bit of refinement as he kind of plays a little bit too fast at times. He's kind of all over the place, but if he could ring that in, I know the 4.7 speed, you think, oh, how does he play so fast? But again, same thing with Darius Robinson is the same thing with Adisa Isaac, someone that's incredibly explosive off the edge. He immediately stresses the left shoulder or the right shoulder of the offensive tackle, and he has a great inside counter move as well. Give me Adisa Isaac as an explosive option on that defensive line.
Yeah, that one's interesting. I thought you were going to go with Marshawn Nealon there, but I like Isaac. I think he's maybe the best run defending edge rusher in this class.
I think it's Muhammad Kamara.
Yeah, he's up there as well. But both those guys are awesome. At 41, Green Bay. What is this? They've got 3 seconds. I'm going to go with a corner here because we passed on Nate Wiggins. I think 1 for the story, but 2 for the player. I'm going to take Max Melton. His brother Bo is on the team. The more I look at Max Melton, he is so awesome. He moves incredibly well. He could play outside. He could play in the slot. I mean, I think he could go in the first round, and I wouldn't complain about it. I think he's that good. I'm going to take him here at 41.
Yeah, you stole my pick there. I was a little pissed about that one. That was going to be the pick for the Detroit Lions, but I'm not going to fret here because there's a player that they are extremely interested in that is still on the board, and we just talked about him, and that's going to be Marshawn Nealon.
Yeah, Nealon's awesome. I think I compared him to Zach Allen from the Broncos and the Cardinals. He's awesome. He's explosive. He's got great size. He could play. He's like a poor man's Darius Robinson, I would say, in just terms of you could line him up in a lot of different spots, and I think he's going to succeed. At number 43, we've got the.
Did you forget there?
Huh?
I said, what did you forget?
I thought you were going to say something. I was waiting for you.
No, I was waiting for you to go.
Number 43, the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to take Xavier Worthy. You got Darnell Mooney in the offseason, who I like quite a bit. My favorite pick before the combine was to take Xavier Worthy here to the Falcons because I'm like, oh my gosh, that speed with Drake London would be awesome. And it still feels like a very plausible scenario here after the combine. I know everyone freaked out when he ran the fastest 40, which is very impressive, but give me Xavier Worthy all day, every day to the Falcons.
Yeah, I love that. And at number 44 here, I think secondary is in play for the Las Vegas Raiders. A player that I feel like maybe I'm not as high on as the consensus, and I think you kind of feel the same way, is TJ Tampa. But I think he fits exactly what the Las Vegas Raiders are looking for in terms of, strength on the outside, press ability. So I'm going to take TJ Tampa here at number 44.
I like Tampa. I think he's good. I think he's a great zone coverage guy. I think if he's in a zone scheme, reminds me a lot of Juju Brents last year, who went in a very similar range here. It's just great size. He's great in zone, but there are a lot of questions I have with his abilities in man coverage. I think it's a good fit, though, as an outside guy here. I think that makes a lot of sense. At 45, we got the Saints. I'm going to go with the receiver here. Just a few good ones on the board. Troy Franklin. I still really like Troy Franklin. I know the consensus has kind of come off of him there. I think he'd be great. I'm going to go with Jalen Polk, though, out of Washington. Sense. I think he's flying. I'm not going to say flying, but he's starting to creep up draft boards. I saw him at 32 to the Chiefs in a mock recently, and I love it. I think Jalen Polk is awesome. Very similar to a player that the Saints are very familiar with, and Chris Godwin, I think he's got some of the best hands in the draft class. So I'm going to take him at 45.
Once again, I will cede 46 to you.
The Colts at 46. I mean, I like the safeties on the board. I also love the corners on the board for the Colts. They like athletic guys. If I'm the GM, if I'm Chris Ballard, I would take Ennis Rakestraw. I think he's fantastic. The RAS number for Ballard, I don't know if it's going to be good enough. Who are the other corners on the board? That's what I'm really curious about. Okay, so we got Lassiter, which I don't think is a Colts guy either. Renardo Green, I think, is going to be the pick here at 46. Maybe not the most productive, but you look at the numbers in terms of like the yards allowed. He doesn't have a lot of interceptions, but he's almost impossible to throw the ball against, it seems. He just locks guys down in man coverage. Maybe not the most explosive, but I think Renardo Green, I think he fits what this team wants to do. I think he can play in man and zone. I'm going to take him at 46.
Yeah, I like that. And go ahead. You have the next pick to keep it with what we had before.
Number 47, we took Drake May early. We had a little bit of a trade up. Now I'm going to go get him a weapon, and that's going to be Troy Franklin. We just talked about him. I think he's already one of the biggest guys in that receiver room. Maybe a bit like Hyatt in terms of just like you just have a guy that could be a vertical threat. But I think Troy Franklin is a better route runner than we give him credit for, to be quite honest with you. And I think he fits what the Giants want to do on the offensive side of the ball. So I'll take him at 47.
Yeah, I mean, I think the early winner of the draft so far has to be the Atlanta Falcons, and I think it keeps getting better here. Hold on, where is it? Give me Rook Ororo here at number 48.
Yeah, he's been a guy that's been moving up boards. I think probably the back end of the second, somewhere around this range, feels realistic for him. And then I'm going to take another defensive tackle off the board here to replace DJ Reader. I would love to go T'Vondre Sweat. After the DUI, I just don't see him in this range. I think that the guy that I'm going to take is Braden Fisk out of Florida State, a guy that is an excellent pass rusher. Maybe not the biggest guy, but he wins. He's got explosiveness. He does a lot of things really well. So I'm going to take him at 49.
Yeah, give me Cooper Beebe here at number 50 for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is just someone that, is for me seems like the long-term Lane Johnson replacement. Howie Roseman loves these offensive linemen that are versatile. I mean, look, they have Cam Jurgens playing out of position. They had Landon Dickerson playing out of position. What I presume is Cam Jurgens will take over at center. Maybe you have Cooper Beebe play right guard, and then once Lane Johnson either moves on or retires, then you have Cooper Beebe take over at right tackle. I think he's a phenomenal player, high RAS score as well, something that Howie Roseman loves, and the versatility is all there.
Yeah, we've been on BB for a long time. I think a lot of people I don't get it. But another thing I don't fully understand is how Peyton Wilson's still on the board at 51. I think that's going to be the pick here for me for the Steelers. I know some Steelers fans will complain that, you didn't take a center. Relax. Okay,
that's what the other picks are for. It's okay.
Yeah, there's no center. There's no center on the board worth taking. Peyton Wilson. I know you're an Edgerrin Cooper guy. I'm a Peyton Wilson guy in this linebacker class. I think Wilson, athletically, his ability as a tackler, he does so many things well at that linebacker position. The question is the medicals, and I think now you pair Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson in that middle. Oh, that's gonna be scary for NFL teams to throw across the middle.
Yeah. Give me at number 52, I'm going to go maybe with an outside the box option here because this is something that we don't see because the Denver Broncos don't possess a second round pick. Now that they have the LA Rams second round pick here, give me Chris Braswell here. I think that he's an excellent addition to this defensive line. You could argue corner or offensive line could be a little bit more of a need here, but if you watched any Denver Broncos game last year, you would know that really it was, besides for Nick Bonito, really, there was no pass rush. So give me Chris Braswell here.
Yeah, I like Braswell a lot. He's probably one of the most underrated players in this class to me. I think he's fantastic. I think he had 13 sacks this past year for Alabama. He's flying under the radar in this draft class. At number 53, we got the Colts again. And guard is kind of where I'm thinking here. Not because they need it necessarily, but they do have a spot. The right guard spot could improve. I don't love Will Fries there. I think he's okay. He had a career year. It still wasn't amazing. I'm going to go a little bit outside the box here. Maybe you don't see this coming. I'm going to go with Mason McCormick out of South Dakota State. This is a guy who seems like he's going to go in the second. Another guy with a high RAS score that just makes a ton of sense here at 53. He's so powerful. I think now you've got Nelson, Kelly, and McCormick in your interior. You're going to be able to run the ball effectively again with Jonathan Taylor, and you're going to be able to keep Anthony Richardson healthy.
Yeah, I love that. It put me in a little bit of a tough spot here. That was probably going to be my pick. I do love Christian Haynes here. I'm just going to take a look at who's the defensive tackles that are left here. Ooh, okay. Yeah. All right. I definitely know which way I'm going to go here. Yeah. I think this is going to be Chris Jenkins out of Michigan here at number 54. I think just his ability to be just a run stopper next to, what was that Dalvin Tomlinson they have on the interior as well? I mean, that automatically seems like one of the best interior run stopping duos in the NFL. So give me that. He also does have a decent amount of pass rushing chops. He doesn't really have a game plan when it comes to rushing the passer. He kind of just flails his arms and runs straight at the offensive lineman, but it does work from time to time. So if he could work with a defensive line coach and actually ring in that power and have a little bit of a plan when it comes to rushing the passer, I think he's going to be a very, very well-rounded defensive tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. At number 55, the Dolphins, I hate drafting for it. It's Jer'Zhan Newton at 21. We have to keep bringing that up. And at 55, I mean, the receiver talent
this should be easy for you, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's Christian Haynes, I think.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I was going to go with the receiver and completely forgot we took a defensive tackle earlier. So, yeah, we're going to go O-line here.
All right, we have not had a running back go off the board yet, and I feel like the prime place for a running back to go off the board here is 56. And someone quote me or fact check me if I'm wrong. If there is a running back that is drafted after number 54, that officially becomes the latest first running back drafted in NFL history, I'm pretty sure.
Jeez.
So that might be a little bit of draft history there. I could be wrong. It could be in the modern era, but I'm pretty sure I'm spot on with that. Don't give me Trey Benson as much as I think that this is a fantastic destination for him. Give me Jonathan Brooks at number 56. I feel like this is, you want to talk about worst kept secret? This certainly feels like a worst kept secret in the draft.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost a lock to happen at this point. At 57, we've got Tampa. I'm going to go Ennis Rakestraw. I think this is way too low. Yeah. They took Chop Robinson. Now you get Rakestraw to improve that secondary. I think it just makes way too much sense.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. Yeah, this seems like a pretty easy pick here at number 58. I know that Green Bay likes to hold off for the most part until maybe a little bit later to take their offensive lineman. But if Kingsley Suamataia is still here at number 58, I feel like that is an absolute home run pick. He could play left tackle. He could play inside as well. Love that versatility for Green Bay. It might be a little bit earlier than they usually pick, but if he's still on the board, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, he's moved down my board quite a bit in the last couple of months. Some of the whiffs and moving to left tackle, he's struggled, but at 58, I think the upside is he doesn't need to start right away for them, which I think is a plus. At number 59, interesting spot here. I'm going to go with Junior Colson, the linebacker from Michigan.
Yeah, I love
Continue to improve. Maybe the best coverage linebacker in this class. I think he's definitely up there. I'm going to take him at 59.
Yeah, I love that. So we have the Buffalo Bills, who didn't have to trade up to get the wide receiver that they wanted. They have Xavier Legette here. I have to bolster the secondary here, and we have basically any safety that we want at this point. So give me Tyler Nubin here at number 68.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. At number 61, I believe we took Marshawn Kneeland earlier. Yes. I think we're going to go corner here for them. I'm trying to figure out, do I go with what I think makes sense and what's going to happen, or what I would do? Because what I would do is I would probably take Mike Sainer still here at 61, but it seems like Andrew Phillips is getting that buzz that he could go in this range. I don't really see it, but I know he's a guy that a lot of people are interested in. I'm going to go with Sainer still. I don't really think they have that slot corner. They've had success the last time they drafted a Michigan defender in Aiden Hutchinson. Get another guy there who's going to be one of the most electric slots in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those guys that is just a spark plug on every single snap. He is one of those guys here. Okay, 62 here. Give me Roger Rosengarten.
Yeah,
for the Baltimore Ravens. I feel like this is an easy plug-and-play starter on the right side. Patrick Paul, love his length and his athleticism. A little bit more of a left tackle guy for me. Rosengarten, a natural right tackle with incredible athleticism. Give me that all day.
Yeah, absolutely. At 63, tough one here for the Niners. Defensive tackle, you lost Teron Armstead, so maybe you could be looking to improve there. I do like Michael Hall here. I think that makes quite a bit of sense. Also, corners with sneaky need. Guard, I think, is probably another need for them. I think I'm going to go with a guard here for them. I think that just makes the most sense. The question is which one, and I'm going to take Christian Mahogany from Boston College. I think he's just a mauler. He's so nasty as a blocker, and I think he fits in San Francisco well. So I'm going to take him at 63.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great pick there. At number 64 here, like I said before, we always try and go with outside the box with Kansas City because they always just kind of do that to us here. Patrick Paul seems like the obvious pick here. But to be honest with you, as much as I love his size, length, overall athleticism, a lot of holes in his game at this point. He seems like a rather raw player. If I'm going to go with a raw player or someone that needs a little bit of development, I'm going to take Kieran Amagaji. You want to talk about length? How about the 99th percentile in length for the tackle position? I know he played at a small school, FCS Yale. I get it. But if there's a team that could turn these players into Pro Bowlers, all pros, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me Kieran Amagaji to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side here.
Yeah, I like that. At 65, I mean, we were going to take him at 39 for the Panthers, and Trey Benson's still here. I'm running the card in if I am in Carolina. I'm getting Trey Benson.
Yeah, definitely. 66, I mean, we've done a job for the Arizona Cardinals here. I think defensive tackle is something that we really need to look at here. And with that multiple front alignment, I think Michael Hall makes a ton of sense here. So I'm going to take Michael Hall Jr. at 66. Yeah,
I think that's a really good pick. I think defensive tackle comes off the board again here. I think that's a big need for Green Bay. And I think I'm going to go Leonard Taylor here. I still have hope that Leonard Taylor can develop into something really good in this league. They just wasn't giving him opportunities at Miami in a position where I felt he was maximized. I think Green Bay could use him very well, and I'm going to take him at 67.
Yeah, I think that is a fantastic pick. I really love that. I mean, this is shaping up to be an insane draft for Green Bay. Edgerrin Cooper, Max Melton. I mean, we're hitting all the notes that we're looking for here. At number 68, I'm going to go with corner here for the New England Patriots. And I really love what Cam Hart can bring to the table for the New England Patriots. This is someone that has incredible size, incredible coverage abilities. He's really got it all. He's a tremendous tackler as well. Really, in this range, I don't think you can go wrong with Cam Hart or Kyrie Jackson. Cam Hart brings a little bit more mass. Kyrie Jackson, a little bit better talent, tackling technique. But I think Cam Hart brings more NFL appeal. So give me Cam Hart here to pair with Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, I like that. I'm looking at the board a little bit, and there's a guy that's kind of fallen that it's Ricky Pearsall. I don't think there's any chance he's on the board here at 69. But like, who trades up here? Chicago makes sense, but with their limited capital, I don't know if it does. So I might just stick and pick here yet again. And I mean, I want to go with a running back for them, but after signing J.K. Dobbins and I lose Gus Edwards, I just don't think it makes sense. I'm going to go with the defensive tackle again, and we're going to take now's a T'Vondre Sweat spot, I think. I know he's fallen out of the second round, but his run-stopping ability is upside as a pass rusher. I think it makes sense here, so I'm going to take him at 69.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. With all the draft capital that we have for the Arizona Cardinals here, I think we could afford to get a little bit crazy here. I'm going to take a running back, and I'm going to take Braylon Allen here at number 70.
All right. I like that. I like Braylon Allen quite a bit. And then back-to-back picks for them. I think I'm going to go with Dominic Pooney, the offensive lineman. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that because we took Graham Barton. So I take it back. I'm going to go with an edge rusher here. I think I'm going to take Jonah Ellis out of Utah.
Ooh, I like that pick a lot.
I think he could be that Hassan Reddick designated pass rusher that we saw have so much success in Gannon's system. I think he's a top 100 pick. I'm going to take him at 71.
All right. Got the Jets at 72. Now, there's a couple different ways I can go here. We took Brock Bowers at number 10. So this is our only pick in this only other pick in this 3-round mock here. I want to go offensive line so bad, but Malachi Corley is sitting there. I think it's crazy to take a tight end and a wide receiver with limited draft capital. So I'm against my better judgment. I'm not going to do it. And I really like what Blake Fisher can bring to the table to the New York Jets. But if Patrick Paul is still sitting there, I feel like an idiot not taking him. We know, I mean, look at this. We know 6'7", 331, 967 RAS score. That is all what Joe Douglas is looking for. A massive mountain of a man that might not start right away, but is some great insurance. And why wouldn't you want to get a mountain of a man like that to learn from Tyron Smith? I mean, that just sounds perfect. This is a guy that needs development. Who better than to develop him than Tyron Smith?
Absolutely. And then I'm going to take Malachi Corley here and just
put the knife right in my chest, huh?
Yeah, I think he makes the most sense for him. I as much as I like Pearsall, I think Corley's kind of the receiver for the Lions that makes more sense.
Yeah, this has been a phenomenal draft for the Atlanta Falcons so far. And you know what? I think we're going to go back to the defensive side here, and we're going to take a look at the edge rushers that are on the board. I know it's a relatively thin class once you get down to it, but I really like what Braylon. You know me, I'm not as high as Braylon Trice as the consensus, but if he's still here at 74, the last 2 years for the Atlanta Falcons, the 28th and the 27th best pass rush. We got Rook Ohoro, whatever the hell you say his name, and now we're taking Braylon Trice here at 74.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go receiver again and take Ricky Pearsall here. Took Dallas Turner, now we're going to go get Caleb Williams, another weapon. I don't think there's a single chance that he's on the board outside of the second round, but
you never know. Stranger things, my friend, stranger things.
True.
So yes, the team that is back here with some draft capital after all. We're going to take a look at the cornerback position here. And if Andrew Phillips is still on the board at 76, I feel like this is a perfect spot for the LA Rams. So I'm going to take Andrew Phillips here at 76.
Yeah, I'm not the highest on him, but I think it makes sense there for him. At 77, I'm going to take Spencer Rattler to be a quarterback here for the Raiders. We haven't really gotten quarterback for this team yet. I think it is a need, and he can compete for the starting job with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, which makes up one of the most elite quarterback rooms I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's who I honestly was going to, believe it or not, at pick number 40, what was it, 44? That's who I wanted, to be honest with you. But I held off on it, and I thought maybe he would be here. I took a little bit of a risk, but he is here. And Jaden Daniels, Tyler Guyton, Adisa Isaac. I feel like we need a linebacker here at this point. And I'm going to take, I believe Trevin Wallace is still on the board here. And I feel like this is, they have some history with Jamin Davis being a Kentucky linebacker. I think they go back to the well and they take Trevin Wallace here, who, if Junior Colson is the best coverage linebacker, Trevin Wallace is probably number 2.
Yeah, Trevin Wallace is really good. At number 79, I believe, you took Braylon Trice. Man, I feel like we've touched all the needs here for them. So now it's kind of like, where do you want to go next? This is tough. I think I'm going to go with Cole Bishop, though, just to be an extra safety. I think he could play that strong safety role alongside Jesse Bates, who's more that free safety. And I like that pairing quite a bit.
I love that. All right. You ready for this one? Number 80, Cincinnati Bengals. We attacked the offensive line and defensive line. It's time to get a weapon. Give me Jalen McMillan here at number 80.
All right. It could be a good Tyler Boyd replacement for sure.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. At 81, Seattle, where do we go with this team? We took, I believe, Talise Fuaga.
Yep.
Okay, so now we need I think corner is kind of a sneaky need for them, and I know we've talked about this. Kamari Lassiter, I'm not the highest on, but at 81, I think it's good value for him here at 81. Yeah. So I'm going to take him here to pair alongside Reek Woolen as well as Kobe Bryant in that backfill or in that second.
If I take Ben Sinnott here, would you be mad?
Nah, I wouldn't be mad at all. I love Ben Sinnott.
That's exactly what I'm doing here at number 82.
Yeah, I think also in Steichen's offense and how creative he gets, Ben Sinnott would be awesome for the Colts. At 83, I kind of want to go corner. Did we go corner for them already?
No, we took Bo Nix and we took Chris Braswell.
Okay, so I'm looking at my board. Kyrie Jackson's still here. I like him better than some of the guys we've taken already, so I'm going to do that and just get some size on the outside. Good tackler. He was very productive. My biggest question really is experience with him, but you got him at 83, pair alongside Patrick Surtain. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Amarius Mims, Peyton Wilson, the first two. We're going to go and get a center here, so these Steelers fans could just relax for just a quick second. I like Roman Wilson here as well, but there are a couple other centers that I think I think Cedric Van Pren and Taylor Bortolini are a little bit too high on this board. Give me Bo Limmer here at number 84. This is who I think embodies what it is to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Big, nasty, ugly, just physical football. I think that's exactly what they're looking for here at the center position. And athletic, too.
Yeah, I like Limmer more than I like both of those other guys as well. I think Dominic Pooney comes off the board here, though. I think guard is a need for Cleveland, but he also has the ability to swing tackle. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think they need to improve this offensive line because it's very thin outside of their top guys, and I think Pooney could provide some much-needed depth.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea there. Marshawn Nealon, Mike Sanderstil, Malachi Corley here. It feels like we've gone way too long without addressing the offensive line here. And there's a lot of players that are like down the board. I feel like maybe later on, Ladarius Henderson, Zach Zinter, no relation to the fact that they are both from Michigan here. I think they are both in play. But I do love Brandon Coleman here. I think he's super athletic. He's someone that I think could sit behind Kevin Zeitler for a year and, be that spot starter. I know 86 is a little bit early to be taking backup players, but I think that there'll be a starting role for him right away next year.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick for them as well. At 87, I'm going to go receiver. I'm going to take Roman Wilson. Jerry loves his Michigan players. Historically, we haven't addressed receiver, and it's a big need for them. So I'm going to take him at 87.
Somehow, the Green Bay Packers still have 3 picks, and we're 12 picks away from being done, and they still have 3 more picks. Unbelievable here. But I don't know. This is a weird way to go. I feel like we don't really need too much else. I like some of these. Oh, I know where I'm going with this one. I know that we just went with a tackle here, but I think Kingsley Suamataia is probably better suited to be a guard at the next level.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with a little bit of a sleeper here. And I am going to, if it ever decides to load, I'm going to take Caden Wallace here at number 88.
Interesting.
They have shown a ton of interest in Caden Wallace. So have a ton of other teams too. Don't be surprised at this point in the draft if you hear Caden Wallace's name.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with Garrett Greenfield. At 89, I'm going to address the interior for the Bucks, and I'm going to take Cedric Van Pran. While I don't love Van Pran, I don't love him athletically. I think he's just almost impossible to move, it seems, at times. And this team needs a center to replace Ryan Jensen. I think Cedric Van Pran could be that guy.
I don't even remember what we did. Okay, finally the last pick for the Arizona Cardinals here, and this is a haul. I think this is a nice spot. I honestly don't even know what to do here. I feel like we've done a lot. Maybe a guard. Well, we got Graham Barton, maybe a tackle. I don't even know what to do here, to be quite honest with you. I guess we're going to have to take the best player on the board at maybe a position of need here. Let's see what we got. So we'll go back here. Cedric Gray is interesting. So was Brendan Dorless. Yeah, I like a lot of these players here. I'm not going to lie. I think I'm just going to continue to bolster the defensive side of the ball and give me Cedric Gray here at 90.
Yeah, that makes quite a bit of sense to me. I'm going to go safety here for Green Bay because I think that's the one position we haven't addressed for them, if I recall. I like – let me look at my board here. I still like Kinchins, but I don't know if this is where he goes. I'm going to go with I'm going to go Jaden Hicks here.
Yeah.
91. I'm not the highest on him. He's just outside my top 10, but I think the consensus really likes Jaden Hicks. I think he's a really good box safety, maybe even a linebacker potentially. I think he's got a lot of upside here. So I'll take him at 91.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot, honestly. I think that's a pick that we see made quite a bit. All right. Chop, Ennis Rakestraw, Cedric Van Pran, Granger here. I think a receiver is on the cards here, and there's someone that I definitely have in mind that I think would be great, and that's going to be Jermaine Burton here at number 92.
Yeah, Burton, he didn't hit a woman, I think would be a lot higher on this board, but, that's not good.
We live and we learn. It's all right.
I don't think he did learn. I think that's the problem here.
It's okay. He's got a high RAS score, and he's a good route runner. NFL teams will overlook it.
Fair enough. At number 93, I kind of like Brandon Dorless here. I think that's where I'm going to go. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. So I'm going to take Brandon Dorless.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a spicy pick there. We have a Lad McConkey and we have a Christian Mahogany here. So I think a corner is in order here. So naturally, I went to go hit the offense. corner is in order here. I like that, the way that rhymes. So we have, this is going to be it. We're looking for a boundary corner with some SEC experience here, some press abilities. I like DJ James at number 94.
Yeah, I just reevaluated him recently. He's good. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Asante Samuel. He is very aggressive, but he's good. I think we're sleeping on him. At 95, I think corner. I think I'll go corner probably again here. I'm going to go with Jarian Jones from Florida State.
I love that pick. I was hoping you were going to do that, to be honest with you.
I like his inside-outside versatility. I think he's better suited as a slot, but he's awesome in coverage.
Yes. I forgot that we traded up for Romo Dunze here at number 96. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming back from the dead. And I think that the defensive tackle position is in order here. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think I'm going to go a tad down the board here. I know Mason Smith is still here. Dwayne Carter is nice. I like what Mekhi Wingo can bring to this defensive line. Not necessarily a nose tackle, 6'1", 284 pounds, but he brings an unbelievable bull rush and some incredible strength from the interior. I think he's worked his way fully into day 2.
Yeah, I like that pick. At number 97, we got the Bengals. I'm trying to think of where we haven't gone with them. They might be another cornerback team for me. You lost Chidobe Awuzie. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a corner here for them. You lost Chidobe Awuzie. It's just kind of which corner do you like? I don't love a lot of them at this range. I like Kalen Carson a lot. He's a top 15 corner for me, but I don't know if this is the spot I would take him. I kind of like Elijah Jones down the board as well. I think that's a sneaky one. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Elijah Jones. Actually, I take it back. I'm going to go Jarvis Brownlee at 97, only because not because I'm a fan, but I know that a lot of people have him in this day 2 range. He's aggressive. He's physical. I think there's a chance he could go in the top 100. So I'm going to take Jarvis Brownlee at 97.
Yeah, I appreciate that because the next player that I was going to take was going to be Elijah Jones here at number 98. I think he's a perfect fit across from JPJ for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in the secondary. You want press, you got it here. You got ball instincts, you got good zone coverage. He's actually, if he wasn't a 6th-year senior, I could easily see him being like an early day 2 prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that pick as well. Number 99, we're almost there. The Rams. What have we done for the Rams?
The Rams, we got Latu and Andrew Phillips.
Pretty solid draft. I'm gonna actually go Jatavian Sanders here at 99 because I don't think tight end is really addressed here with them. I don't really know what the status is going to be of Higbee, who got hurt in the playoffs. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm going to go Jatavian Sanders at 99.
I feel like we have to take a wide receiver here.
Yeah, this feels like the Packers wide receiver range here.
Right? Like I wouldn't necessarily, I got to see who I'd be in love with here to see what they're looking for. You know what? I tell you what, I think Javon Baker fits really a lot of what they're looking for.
I think that makes sense.
I think it makes sense. They have Christian Watson, who's made out of glass, bones, and paper skin as their speed boundary receiver. They have Jaden Reed as well. I mean, they got Bo Melton. They have some.
I'm trying to think. They have
Dontavion Wicks as well.
That's what I was thinking, because I think Wicks is actually going to be wide receiver 1 for them next year. All
right. So I'm definitely going to take Javon Baker if that's the case. I know it's really surplus to need, but I feel like we have to take an offensive weapon for the Green Bay Packers at this point. So we're going to take Javon Baker to end out our 3-round mock draft.
That was fun. I mean,
and this is it, dude. This is the accumulation of all of our hard work, and this is literally the last thing that we have for this year to kind of show for it. So let's try and get like 10% of these picks right, and that'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this was a great time, man, as always, and appreciate you for coming on. Appreciate you having me on, and
appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate you for coming on my show.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to do it for us. Be sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Adios.